Hey everybody, Dishadar here, and this video is talking about what I personally believe. My personal religion, that's a good title. So, everyone knows it's not a secret I'm Wiccan, and the only problem with Wicca is that you can't say for every Wiccan, this is what you believe. You can give some generalities, like saying, communion with nature, they very overall very peaceful, stuff like that. But you can't point for point say this is what a Wiccan believes, because we're so varied and so diverse in our faith, and the faith itself is so free and without many constraints that we're free to do as we wish, so long as we follow key, key rules, key values. So that's what makes me different from any other Wiccan. Every Wiccan essentially is unique unto themselves. So that's how free our faith is. So that's why it gets hard when people, even with other Wiccans, when I'm on like different discussion boards and groups, we it gets difficult because it's like how I see deity and how I see the world is different from how another Wiccan does. So it's good because it's always new material, new beliefs that you're exposed to, which is good for any and every faith that allows it. So, anyway, speaking for myself and myself alone, I personally ascribe to the polytheistic belief that that there are plenty of different gods, goddesses, and stuff like that. Like, if you think about it, for me personally, I believe in 6 overarching forms. Let me go sit down on this big rock. Um, I believe there being that all spirits, all aspects of deity, focus can be grouped into 6 general forms: the god, for the god side and a goddess side. Physical being the god, and the goddess being a more spiritual aspect, being Lord, Father, and Elder for the god, Maid, Mother, Crone for the goddess. Now, this is different because Wicca in itself generally believes in only having a triple goddess and only one god, so that's how it's unique to me. So I think that to have a triple spiritual aspect, you need to have a triple physical aspect. And within each of those 6, there are plenty of deities of, there for everything that exists in the universe. I believe that there's a deity for it. For everything that's natural, I mean. So you have ones of nature, of the plants, of the animals, of the sky, of the birds, of the sea, of all the elements: earth, wind, fire, water, and spirit, which is the combination of all. So for everything that exists that's naturally made, I believe that there's an inherent spirit in it. So it's, my belief tends to be a bit more animist, which is belief that everything has its own spirit, and each thing that has its own spirit also has a deity that represents it. Spirit, deity of the humans, of the plants, of dogs, of birds, of the ocean, fire, of volcanoes, basically stuff like that. Anything that exists and is naturally made. And by naturally made, I mean something that isn't man-made, of course, because some people, see it like that. But anyway, good clarification. Another thing that I believe is that everything is connected. Nothing is separate from nature except the illusion that we're separate from nature. There's this belief that since we're humans, that we are somehow better, or we are something exclusive from nature, which in my belief is not the case. We're all connected. Since we came from nature, we rely on nature. We need nature because we come from it. So I don't believe that we're better than it. I don't believe that we can tame it, because there's that inherent wild spirit even within us that gets shown, like in sporting events, and if you go to clubs, dating, stuff like that. There's an inherent wild side to all things. It's just, do we choose to acknowledge it or do we choose to ignore it? As far as other faiths are concerned, I don't believe that my pagan practice is better than anyone else's. I do think there are some things within my faith that tend to be better, and just as well as I think there are things and other faiths that tend to be better within my pagan practice. But I don't think that one is, condemned to some type of suffering, or, you're less than a human if you believe in something different than me. Because I believe that all religion is just a person looking out into the universe and thinking, well, looking out to the world, looking up at the sky, or, whatever place allows them to think clearly, and based on what they observe, based on their beliefs, they take the specific aspects, different points that they see, and they combine it all and slap a stamp on it saying this is the name of this religion. So it's as if it's like a good metaphor. It's like the state of Georgia, right? You have the whole of the state of Georgia, and for each, checking on my dog, and for each different type of people, different, traditions and values, let's say like those are the individual cities. They're all of the state of Georgia, but within those, all the cities are within Georgia, but within each you have different things. So like if we had to say the different cities were of the different religions, that's what it'd be. The cities would be all the different religions, but the state itself would be all faiths, all practices. So each I don't think that, even though I think that some religions focus on different aspects that I like and don't like, but other people like or whatever, I think that overall we're connected because we all believe in the same general set of beliefs. So, um, yeah, that's that. Me personally, when it comes to my faith practice, I believe in celebrating the natural, the holidays that mark the transitions within nature, because the transitions of nature are those in the earth. So you have the different changes Earth goes through, and by celebrating the changes of Earth, I'm celebrating thus the changes within all of the universe, because the change only occurs because, for me personally, my belief, the change only occurs because it's something that's happening within the grand scale of the universe. So it's the microcosm within the macrocosm. The microcosm being the earth, the macrocosm being the universe. And I personally celebrate 8 holidays. It's Ostara, Beltane, Litha, Lunasa, Mabon, Samhain, Yule, and Imbolc. Now, for many Wiccans, they like to say Samhain is first, which is the non-believer would consider it to be Halloween. Of course, I would have to say you have to do your research on the origins of Halloween, because this video isn't catered to explaining what it is. So just research, Google, Bing it, whatever. Origins of Halloween, the history of Halloween. But anyway, I say it'll start first because that's the beginning of spring, and that to me personally is the new year, because that's the time of renewal when the plants come out of the ground, and then when you see new life being brought from the death that occurs during fall, when the death of nature begins, and in the winter when there's such cold that there is little life, depending on what plants and animals are around in your local area. So I celebrate the transitions, and depending on what the holiday is, of those 8, there are 4 equinoxes. I mean, not 4 equinoxes. There are 2 equinoxes, and there are 2 solstices. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Spring being Ostara. Then you have Litha, which is the vernal equinox, the summer solstice. Then you have Mabon, which is the autumnal equinox, and then you have the winter solstice, which is my Yule. And then you have the cross quarter days, where you have the in-betweens. So then it'd be Imbolc, Beltane, Lunasad, and Samhain. And I also celebrate year and day, which is basically the anniversary of my conversion. But that's not necessarily a holiday as far as official term, but it's just a celebration of my conversion. Um, that date for each practitioner is different. It just depends on when they converted from whatever their native faith was to Wicca. So there's no specific day in which all Wiccans or all pagans celebrated. But then again, I'm only speaking for me and my personal practice. Okay, now edging towards the supernatural and stuff like that. Me personally, I know there are a lot of people who don't believe in different paranormal activity, spirits, that kind of stuff. But for me personally, I've had, well, one, I want to say that I'm a skeptic overall, but I have personally experienced things when I was younger and stuff that you know I just experienced. It was just a part of my life, so that's why I believe in the paranormal aspect. And I believe in spirits and stuff like that. Not necessarily demons, because it has nothing to do with the Christian basis overall. But it's just I personally wouldn't, I couldn't characterize it, my any of my encounters or experiences, as being demonic in nature. So that's why there's a saying that goes, "You have to see it to believe it," and I haven't experienced it, so I can't say I believe in something that I've never experienced personally. But I keep an open mind. Also, in my practice, I believe that anyone can be of any faith and practice um, paganism, Wicca, what have you, because it's not exclusive to any one faith. Everyone, in my personal opinion, should be able to celebrate what they want to believe without any constraint saying you can't do this or you can't do that. You know, so long as you don't harm anyone, cause any kinds of issues with other people, then you're free to do what you wish. Respect yourself, respect your body, respect other people and their beliefs, so long as it doesn't infringe upon your own rights. So yeah, that's what I believe as far as the paranormal and as far as others being able to practice whatever faith they may practice. Also, I have an altar. Um, I have my actually, well, yeah, I have an altar that serves as a ritual space, a place, a specific area where I commune with deity. And when I say deity, since I am polytheist, I like to have that one overarching name, deity. But when I say deity, I don't mean in a monotheistic fashion. I mean all of creation I attribute to being deity, of all of nature, all all things that exist, and the different god forms within each and every one, like I explained earlier in the video. So in the altar, my personal altar, I have three ritual spaces, but I only have one that I really practice in. So it's, kind of, sort of. And within there, at my ritual space, which you will see if you haven't already, if you looked at my video, my ritual space part 1 and part 2. I didn't do a part 3 because I don't really use the third ritual space as much. It's kind of an old one, like a relic. So anyway, also there I do meditations. Sometimes I like to be there just for the comfort of just being surrounded by the trees, the sounds of the birds. If you look at most of my videos, it's in a natural area. You'll hear the birds, you hear the wind. So I like being in nature because it's me getting in touch with myself. It allows me to actually just feel like I'm one with the world in a way, because it's away from all the hustle and bustle of life. I can just sit down, I can just rest, recuperate, feel the wind, and just be. That so that's what I really like about my faith, and that's why I like being in natural areas, because it's that solace that you get. You're not around a bunch of people with all their varying opinions and lifestyles and stuff. You're just able to be as you are. Let's see, check the time. 14 minutes. I'm trying to keep it short, but I want to be able to just post everything at one time, so I don't have to make a part 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this video isn't going to be long, probably 15, 20 minutes, even though we're already edging on 15. So that's what I believe. I don't see now. Okay, I don't believe in me personally, I don't believe in satanic concept. I believe in balance. With life, you have death. With good, you have bad. I don't believe that with any deed, with any god form. I don't believe that there is that deity is all good or all evil, because I believe when it comes to existence, when it comes to life, I believe that everything has a little bit of everything, like the yin yang. You know, nothing is purely one or the other, because if it's purely one or the other, that means it's void of its opposite aspect, thus making it invalid. So if I had to say, like, the existence of Satan, that some other people believe, and I can't believe that Satan exists, because Satan is an all evil deity, or mostly evil deity, depending on what circles you look at. And personally, Satan is invalid in my personal belief, because it's all destruction. There's no creativity. There's no positive aspects or anything like that. So that's why it can't exist, personally speaking. So for each their own. I like to not try and say someone else's worldview is invalid because it's not what I believe. I just believe that everyone should be able to do as they wish, so long as they're not, infringing on my rights or my ability to practice what I personally believe. As far as the conservation of nature, I too believe in that, which is something that you generally find in many Wiccan circles. Not necessarily pagan, since paganism is an umbrella term for any non-Judeo-Christian faith. So if it's not Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, it's usually seen as pagan. And that covers such a vast variety of religions that there is no way in the world one could say I'm pagan and automatically think nature conservationist. So me personally, I'm a nature conservationist. I believe in living in tune with nature. I believe that we as a people should be more respectful to nature, because if we destroy nature, we're thus destroying ourselves, because nature can live without us. We can't live without nature. There are plenty of animals that have lived, become extinct, and nature lives on. So I believe that if we want to continue surviving in the world that we so love to take advantage of, unfortunately, I believe we need to do a better job of making sure that our land, our air, our water, and our atmosphere is clean. Because this extends more than just pollution on a planetary scale, on the traditional land, sea, and air. This also extends to atmospheric. If you haven't looked it up, look up pictures of space junk around the Earth. Holy crap! There's a lot of. I don't want to get too deep into the topic. I'll just lightly touch it. There's a lot of, from various space explorations and whatnot, that kind of stuff, which I just see as a waste of money overall. I'll explain that in a later video. There's a lot of just general pollution from, the exhaust from the fuel propellants, and from the parts, the space parts, like the booster rocket and stuff like that, that's just left out there, just floating around. And I believe we need to just do a better job by the Earth in general, because the respect that humans have for themselves is shown by what they do for nature, in my personal belief. Even though me personally, considering my current financial situation and living situation, I'm unable to do much as far as living in a more respectful way to Earth, or with Earth. Um, I know that as soon as I'm able to get the money, the job, the finances, and everything, I know personally that I will definitely start doing more to live in better tune with nature, because, look at all this. This is so, well, minus the buildings, the trees, the little letters allowed to be here. Nature is a beautiful place, and I don't. That's why I really don't like living in the city or near the city, because it's so separated. I've been surrounded by nature all my life, because I was born in the country. So it's no surprise that I love nature, and I just don't like being around all asphalt and skyscrapers and stuff like that, because it's so man-made and so disconnected, with little to no greenery depending on where you go. So those are my beliefs. I believe I covered it all for the most part. But if you have any specific questions or you need any clarifications, just inbox me on here, or if you happen to know me offline, then yeah, just drop me a line. Let me know. I'll be free and willing to answer any questions or problems or concerns you may have. So this is Dishadar. This is my belief. Thank you and have a very good day.